Hello viewers, you're welcome to another edition of the talent show here on AK Prime TV. My name is Ejapon Clinton, aka Prof, and I'm your host for today. Our actual host is not here, that's this one. She has traveled somewhere else, so I'm replacing her for today's edition. And we have right here a US-based artist named Hakeem Royce. Hakeem Royce, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's get a short break. When we're back, we're going to continue. AK Prime TV, stay informed. So, hello, Mr. Hakeem, how are you doing?
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Alright, so from my introduction, I say you're from the US. I know you're from the US. What states in the US are you from?
I'm from Florida, South Florida. Florida and South Florida.
You grew up in Florida?
Yes.
Oh, alright.
Melting pot, yeah.
And we've seen you here in Africa, so why are you in Africa here?
I mean, the main reason, I've been traveling in and out of Africa since 2018.
Okay.
So this is my third time. So, based on with everything going on with us in the U.S. and everything that has been going on with us in the U.S. since they brought us over there, me coming to Africa, I just saw opportunities here for our people. Of course, it's the homeland, it's the motherland, it's where we come from. But I just saw opportunities here that was better than anything we could ever have with everything that we're going through over there. Everything we're fighting for over there, we already have here. So I decided to put all my talents and all my experiences and everything I have to use building bridges between those in the diaspora, specifically African Americans, to the continent. So
alright.
So
in your speech, you said you've been to Africa about 3 times.
Yeah.
And is it only Ghana that you've been to?
It's been Ghana. I've really been focused around and building around that point of Ghana being the gateway to the rest of the continent. So as well as other African Americans, me as well, I had to learn my own history and learn where I come from. So my 3 years of traveling outside traveling in and out of the country has been going to the slave dungeons, learning the history, talking to different educators in the country and everything like that. And I feel like I'm finally at the point to start bringing other people to the gateway. So, you can start expanding into the rest.
Right. So you're a Ghanaian?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm Fulani. I did my DNA test and I'm Fulani. So let's take it from there. Yeah, Fulani.
So currently they're outside?
Yeah, what's that?
Your parents?
My mother passed away before I came, and I never met my father. So that's my parental situation. So I'm pretty much the pioneer. I'm the one to come, and I'm the one to kind of get things started for the next generation of my family.
Right.
Yeah.
There's something brought about you called the Glue Nation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little more?
Yeah.
A little more on that for us.
Yeah. Well, GLUE is an acronym.
Okay.
And GLUE stands for God, Love, Unity, Enlightenment. And we stick together like glue. And that's an organization. I'm the CEO of that organization. That's the artist, Hakeem Royce. Okay, and that organization is just that. It lays out from the beginning the 4 pillars of what we need to have unity among ourselves as a people. We know the biggest thing that was a prerequisite to us being conquered was division, whether it be tribalism or colorism or whatever it may be, that division. And in that isolation, in that division, we're powerless against the people that know how to work together, even if it is only to oppress us and conquer us and rob and pillage and exploit us. So if we don't learn how to work in unity and we don't learn how to come together, we will be pretty much, like I said, powerless in fighting back. So God, love, unity, enlightenment, those are the 4 pillars, those are the 4 principles that we're going to use to hopefully build unity among our people in the diaspora and globally.
Okay, so to bring us together and fight for what we
stick together like glue.
And so your artist name is Hakeem Royce.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the reason why you chose that name?
Yeah, Hakeem Royce. You know how you got for lack of I think it's Jacob in Israel, right? And when he wrestled with God, God gave him a new name. And a new name represents embarking upon a new journey. If it was in Kemet, they would say the Haru initiate. And Haru was kind of the Kemet version of Christ. And how Christ came to the disciples and was like, hey, drop everything and follow me. This is a new life now. You're going to become a new creature. You know, in Kemet, they call that the initiate path. And whenever you started the initiate path, God, or the Son, or the Holy Spirit, so the gods, they gave you a new name. Okay, so the name Hakeem means wisdom. Now, originally, you know, when we came over to America and they wanted to completely separate us from the continent, they changed our names and they changed our languages. Yeah. So my name given to me by my grandmother, so me and my matriarch's name is Gerald or Geraldine. Okay. It's a German name meaning warrior of the spear, right? So I kind of like that, praying and asking the Father and asking the Creator to give me a new name. So yeah, as I was saying, it's a scripture that says wisdom is better than weapons of war, right? So I feel like the stage that I'm at this point in my life is moving in a much more wise manner, you know, so while still accomplishing the same goals and going towards the same end. So my entire name, Hakeem Asar El Ruiz, it means wise God who sees the rejected and comes to the aid of their cries for help. Well, we shorten that to Hakeem Words. For the artist name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I went through your tracks and I saw a song called Better Life.
Yeah.
What inspired that song?
Yeah. Better Life is actually, it comes from my experiences as a youth counselor. I'm in my family, I'm third generation youth counselor, and I've been doing youth counseling for about 24 years now and working with youth in the inner city communities. So let's say in Ghana that would be the equivalent of like working with youth in the villages, as opposed to working with the youth in like Accra or like East Legon area. So Better Life is actually based on a true story, okay, about a student that I lost, you know, one of these areas that's really hit hard by white supremacy as far as gentrification and the stripping of resources and a stripping of anything that the youth could use for outlets, but a place where drugs and guns and different ways for the youth to destroy themselves, you know, those things always end up finding themselves there, even before the school books and the education system, you know. So it's based on the true story. It's based on a student that I actually had. And we just want to put these stories out here so that in our isolation, sometimes we think that we're alone and that we're going through what we're going through alone. But as we start to put these stories out, we start to align and we start to see that we're all fighting the same fight, you know. So the answer is in us coming together and putting our heads together to bring together the different solutions that we have as we're all going through the same experiences on this globe, on this planet.
All right. So that's a nice inspiration from the song.
Yeah.
I believe most of us have listened to this. I don't know for my other people of Ghana, because Ghanaians, they don't really listen to those outside songs, especially to English.
Yeah.
They like the local ones very, very much. Right. Thank you. So, do you have any upcoming projects you are looking forward to?
Yeah. I mean, as far as Better Life and as far as the other tracks, the upcoming projects is I'm living here now. So, as I'm living here, I'm being more immersed in the culture as well as reconnecting to where I come from and who I come from. You know, and everything, the energy, the ancestry, everything behind it when I say who I come from. So, you know, we have projects coming on. We have Sun Gods. We have Black Messiahs. Those are two projects that we have that we're really pulling tracks from. And we're just working on developing a sound that I'm hip-hop. I'm born and raised hip-hop. That's how I was raised, you know. But I'm also African as well. So as I'm learning who I am in that scope, I'm kind of combining it with the hip-hop. And we're creating a sound that I think a lot of Ghanaians and a lot of Africans are going to really
love it. All right. Okay. What can we expect from your... Okay. So, what can we expect from Glue Nation in the future?
Well, definitely Hakeem Works being present and being here. That's a big thing. And like I said, the inception of this organization is to build bridges between African Americans in Africa. And I think these bridges will do well for all of the diaspora. You know, so we're working on something right now called the Glue Nation 100 Pack Lunch Giveaway, which is where we go to different villages, different communities, and we give away 100 packed lunches to the children
100
there.
100 pack per village.
100 packed lunches per village.
Wow.
And we don't want anything left. So if we got 50 of them left and we done, we're gonna go to another place and we're gonna keep going until we give away all the lunches for that feeding. You know what I'm saying? And it's just raising the vibration and bringing back hope to the people. And that's what we do in everything we do. That's why I think the music will be successful in Africa. Because when you hear the music, you're not only hearing something that's entertaining and something you could dance to, but you're hearing a narration to the things that we're doing all around the continent, like the feedings, like the tourism, and like just reintroducing the diaspora to the motherland once again.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I really like the vibe.
Yeah.
Just give us some short freestyle on.
Oh yeah.
Better Life.
Better Life. The words to Better Life is very, very important. So it's a song that actually can be performed without no beat.
Oh, okay.
And it says, yeah, you know it's going down when I'm in the party. They all around me 'cause I'm giving game. I made it college till I put them shades on and hit the floor bopping. 'Cause the DJ played my song and I was on and popping.
Wow.
He was over here. He was kicking knowledge. Now he over here. Anybody rocking, but he mad trill. You know you gotta watch him. He love all the kids 'cause they know he ride bottom. And know you not forgotten. No, that's not an option. What I went through as a kid for them, I gotta stop it. And what I'm seeing today, I never seen before. Genocidal, homicidal, suicidal, oh my Lord, and I will never let it go. I will never settle for telling folk that selling dope, the only road to getting dope. Pistol smoke, shells left on the floor. Shots go through your home while your baby's in the home. If you want better, sing along.
Wow.
So that's just the verses to let us know we got to do something better to leave this world in a better condition.
That's really inspiring.
Yeah.
I just love the words inside the song. Alright, so my viewers want me to ask you this question.
Okay.
Would you choose to quit music or go back to your ex-girlfriend?
Oh man, quit music or go back to the ex-girlfriend? If it came to quit music, I guess we'd have to give it a shot because quit music ain't gonna happen for me. That's me right there. So,
so you'd never go back to your ex?
Unless it was a decision between going back to my ex or quitting music, then that's be the only way I can my ex. That's the only two options in the world. But otherwise, no, I'm good. Yeah. Face forward.
What's the most ridiculous thing you've ever done?
Wow, that's a lot. What can I narrow down? The most ridiculous thing that I have ever done to get attention to my music. Well, I haven't done anything like, you have like the baby or something who like walks around in a big diaper or anything like that. But anywhere I go, whatever the atmosphere is, even if it's like a conference or something, I'm going to be my energetic self. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to dance. So I would say being at an event, performing, and hopping up on the bar. And I had done this before. I hopped on pool tables before, hopped on bars. I was known as that guy. When I come to your performance, I'm going to shut it down. It's going to be wild. And I hopped on top of the bar. And they immediately stopped the music, like, skirt! And the owner comes out, like, get down, right in the middle of the performance. And I'm like, okay, that didn't go how it was supposed to, but all right. So that was the last time I ever did that. Yeah, that was it. That's the moment right there. Yeah. I thought you were going to let me roll through it. No, get down. No, stop the performance, get down. So, yeah, that was probably the most craziest thing I've done, trying to get attention to my music.
All right, that's all right, now let's dive into your life, your personal life. Are you into a relationship?
No, not at the moment. Revolutionaries don't really have a lot of relationships like that,
But in order to one before.
I mean, yeah, we've had one before, but when you're doing the work, your relationship really comes with who aligns with the work that you're doing, and oftentimes, we're a great person, right? Because this path kind of molds your character and everything like that. But sometimes you get in relationships with women that kind of want to pull you away from the work and be like, hey, you're mine now. And you need to find that person who can either become a part of the work, or if they're happy not becoming a part of the work, they know that, okay, I'm going to have to share you with the work, because the work ultimately comes from God, who probably the only thing you put before your wife and your family.
Alright, let's get back to Better Life. What's the story behind Yeah, the song.
Better life. I'm from South Florida, and I'm from a place in South Florida called Broward County. Broward County is north of what the world knows as Miami, right? So I actually went down to Miami. It was a lot harder hit area, and I felt like it was an area where I could make a great impact. And among all of the students I had, one of the students that I really took to was it was a young man. His name is Johnny Dixon, right? And he's about 18 or 19. And most of us in America, maybe even most of us in the world, but definitely most of us in America, we know about the Tulsa race riots, right? A whole entire economic system, streets, whole communities of black-owned businesses that was self-funded. And we know how that was destroyed by the U.S. government. But what most people don't know is between the late 1800s and all the way up to like the 1960s, there have been 200 plus black communities destroyed or scattered
by the US government.
by the U.S. government or FBI, white supremacy, whatever form the machine takes. So one of those communities hit was the community of Liberty City, which was actually a community that my family was building in. So we know for a fact that our job in our communities, while going through so much oppression and white supremacy, is to just stick together. You know what I'm saying? And try to keep each other together and keep each other fed. And when these systems are destroyed, these communities turn into slums, ghettos, crime centers. And that's where we end up working now as the children of the people who try to keep these things organized. So the young man, Johnny Dixon, we had a program, a paid internship called Shots Out to Miss Ivy. It's called the Wall In Project. And the Wall In Project was based on, actually, we call it segregation wall. And when blacks had to be moved into the area, the whites who lived there hated us so much that they built an 18 to 20 foot wall, and it is following the groove of the street. So some parts is 18, some parts is. But they built an 18-foot wall to separate the black side from the white side, and they called it Overtown. So even Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and people who were coming into Miami, the tourist side, had to be back Overtown before nightfall, or the Ku Klux Klan would come out and try to kill them. Okay, so we're teaching about the history of the wall because the wall has been torn down now, but the climate of America is still very much the same, if not worse. It's just more overt. Okay, so the kids in this community, which was a self-sustaining black community, is now called the Pork and Beans Project. Okay, it's a place of extreme poverty. So here you have these kids who are very talented. They can paint, they can sculpt. You have Johnny Dixon, who's really good at basketball, but there's no opportunities. The opportunities are not there.
Because he was black?
Because, the poverty that's created is because we are black,
Yes.
And we are one of the only people in the world that can be exploited to the degree that we can be exploited. So once we gain our self-respect and we come back together, there's no other people that you can exploit to the level that you can exploit us to. You know what I'm saying? And it took them 400 years, 265 years, which is when they let us off the plantations, but it still continued mentally. It took them hundreds of years to get us to this level to where these are the people we can always exploit anytime we're in any trouble or we need anything. So they're not so willing to let us build up and come out of that so easily, especially in their country. You see what I'm saying? So added to the fact that these kids are poverty and now guns are dropping in these communities and drugs are dropping to these communities. Many of these kids who could be the next LeBron James or who could be the next painter or sculptor end up selling drugs or end up having guns or being in gangs. Okay, and before this kid even had a chance to go to college and play basketball and bring his family out of poverty, he was gunned down through gang violence, drugs, getting involved in that life. And we were always trying to pull the kids out of that life. We have this saying that anybody who's been to jail would know, like, the people I've known and the people who come out to be motivational speakers. And it actually comes from my brother. And it says, fast money is crash money. Slow money is for show money. So the dope money if you're a male or the stripping money if you're a female. It's quick money, but you end up crashing out down the road. You see what I'm saying? And that's what happened to Johnny Dixon. And, the shots going through the home. These are how we're living in America. You can't be sitting in the house with your children and bullets start flying through your home. That's
Just like that.
just like that. I mean, the black communities in America are probably even worse than the communities here in Ghana. And that might be hard to believe, but you don't have guns in your community in Ghana. You don't have people openly selling cocaine and stuff in your communities. And you don't wake up with sometimes dead bodies, in your backyard or in your front yard, or another place is roped off because there's been another murder. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they keep our communities there like the communities here, and then they add the things for us to destroy ourselves. And Johnny Dixon represents one of the many children that are lost in this systematic destruction of our people. And I'm just telling the story from my perspective in America, but putting that story out, you'll see people from the diaspora all over the world who have similar stories. So that's why I chose this story to really be the rock bed and the foundation and the first video that we shoot here in Ghana, because I wanted Africa and Ghanaians to know out the gate what I'm about, what I'm here to do, so that you can come out and you can support.
Right. So this was but when they come up publicly, we will see that they claim that no racism. They've been saying that, so but secretly they've been doing something bad. So is there no black person in the U.S. government?
There is black people in the U.S. government, but we have a saying that says all skin folk isn't kinfolk. All right, so if you're allowed to work with the elites and you're allowed to be, first of all, if you're working with the elites, you're working with a system that has already killed hundreds of millions of your people. So there's a certain kind of black person that's working willingly with that system and not saying, hey, we're going to use this system to try to better the conditions that we created, but instead saying, hey, the system is going to work for you, and it is going to take care of you, and it is going to change, knowing full well the history of the system, and that you can't fix a system that's not broken. The system is working exactly the way it's designed to. So how we know a person that's for us is not saying, oh, we got a black person up there, we're good now. We listen to the words, and if they're saying the same thing the other white supremacists before them is saying, but they're saying it with a little chuck and jive and black flavor on it, then we know it's essentially their agenda in blackface. So that's the saying, all skin folk isn't kinfolk. You see what I'm saying? Everybody up there is not for us.
Right. You make mention that you could be there and gunshots. So have you experienced that before?
This happened to one of my students in Liberty City. A real life story. He came in. He has a 4-year-old, and he came in and was like, yeah, we have a lot of gang violence because when you put people in poverty and you give them guns and drugs and say this is your only means to make food or to afford food, unfortunately, those are the decisions that make when you put a person in a state of poverty. Nelson Mandela says the worst form of violence is poverty, because it really lends itself to all other forms of violence. You see what I'm saying? So my student actually came in and was like, yeah, there was a shootout last night, and I had to cover from the song. I had to cover my 4-year-old sister, and to be like, okay, well, who would think that this would actually happen? My first time in Liberty City meeting with the organization that I ended up working with, the Circle of Brotherhood, which is like a community watch organization. Now imagine these conversations. There's a guy saying, and he's like, we need to get right with God, which I agree with. And the older perspective is we're in the conditions that we're in because of our own sin. Forget anything that created the conditions or lent itself to those conditions. We're in these conditions because of our own sin, right? And a little boy raised his hand, and a girl, his sister's the same age as the little boy who the shooting happened while he was in the house with his sister and his parents was at work. Mom was at work. And he said, my sister was 4 years old, and she caught a stray bullet from gang violence on the front porch. He was like, so you saying my 4-year-old sister was a sinner? She hadn't done anything. She was innocent. So if God is punishing us for a sin, why did my little young sister get shot too? You know what I'm saying? And this is the stuff that, like, we have to tell these stories to the world, because these questions have answers. They have answers. It's not just, oh, this is just the way it is. These questions have answers, but we can't be too afraid to ask these questions as you're doing.
Yeah. So, because of the sins we committed, that's why we are facing these difficulties.
Right.
as the guy said, he said
Mhm.
he didn't commit anything, the sister didn't commit anything, but
Right.
my sister got shot.
Right.
And can you tell us who committed that? Is it because our grandparents did that? That's why we're facing the same difficulties.
The most powerful thing, in a nutshell, about spirituality. That was the initial question. The guy had an ideal about spirituality, and this child, youth, which represent a new perspective and a new way of doing things. Youth aren't born socialized. They aren't born programmed. Their mind is born factory settings. So he's like, all right, I know you're saying that, and the reason why none of the adults ask the question is because this is what we've heard for the last 20 or 30 years, so we're used to it. This is a brand new mind in the world, and he's like, well, I have a question that maybe everybody's too indoctrinated or socialized to ask, but there's innocent people being killed here too. Are they down because of sin? And the fact of the matter is, the God that we're praying to and the Christ that we're looking for is inside of us. And even Christ himself said, the kingdom of heaven is within. So people say, do you disagree with the Bible? I say, no, I disagree with the interpretation of the Bible that says you have to look outside of yourself in order to impact the world around you. So you have people sitting in destruction, homicide, genocide, suicide, and instead of saying, hey, the God that we worship and the Christ that we worship and all of the awesome things that we speak about Christ every Sunday, that Christ and that God lives inside of me. So I more than have the power to change the situations around me, but instead we sit in the destruction waiting for something outside of ourselves to come change the conditions. I think that is the greatest sin that we lend ourselves to. Because it's just going to keep getting worse until somebody says, forget it, I'm going to get up and go do it myself anyways. And how do we look at the person who says, forget it, I'm going to get up and do it myself anyways? Apostasy, heretic, or he's trying to be God. If we can connect that notion that, look, we need to get up and we need to take this in our own hands with the fact that this is exactly what Christ wanted us to do, now we get the spiritual power. Now you start connecting to the ancestors. Now you start connecting to God. Now you start connecting to that Christ within to actually have power when you move instead of throwing rocks at a brick wall, which is what you're doing when you're trying to fight, but you have no connection to the Spirit. And if you have any kind of connection to the Spirit, it comes at the cost of fighting for what you believe in. I love what Malcolm X said. He said, any religion that keeps me from fighting for my people, the hell with that religion. And when you see what Christ was speaking on, Christ was very much about fighting for his people. I come for the lost sheep of Israel. So we just got to align all of those things to realize, again, unity, that we're all on the same page. And we need to be on the same page if we actually want to change the things that are happening, like innocent people being killed by gunfire.
Do you believe America can change the system?
No. No. It's a strong no, but do I believe that America could change with that system? You know, we speak different languages, so let's have some common ground. There's the system, there's the machine, and then there's the beast. Okay? And the machine is the way the system operates. It's emotionless. No ethics, no morals. It's just a bulldozer, just rolling forward. If you're in the way, man, woman, and children, you get rolled over. Now, the system is the mechanics behind it, standardization. I believe that what Africans idealize about America is the system, the standardization, okay, because you need standardization. If I'm going to take this Marcus Garvey jacket and I'm going to produce 10,000 of them, I need a standardization. What is the standard size for small, medium, large? You know, America is built on that mass producing kind of thing. So the standard for mass producing, I think that is what can be taken from America as far as like, you know, what is it about America that people really idealize? But that's in every African American. That's in the minds of anybody who's coming over here from over there. So you don't necessarily need to go and pay into that blood system in order to have that. You see what I'm saying? But the machine itself is a system built off of white supremacy. It's built off one race of people being better than another race of people, okay? And those people who were here for about 100 years before they took their first slaves, they used the knowledge that they learned from like 1492 to like the 1600s, where they were intermingling with the people, and they actually used that to build a counter system to the system that they have over here in Africa, which is why it's so hard for our people to connect over there, because it's like, why does it feel like this system is always going counterproductive to my own nature? Because it was built counterproductive to the society that they took you from. So I believe that the African nature, Africans always had it right. We always had it right. We had empires that spanned hundreds of thousands of years. And you see America after not even 400 years is already on the brink of collapse. You know, so I'm always, if you're going to ask me, am I going to go for an African system or a system that was built to be counterproductive to an African system, I'm always going to go with the African system, because the African system has the greatest level of success on this planet.
Right. All right. I can see it's because of the things you've experienced. That's why you moved into the music industry.
It was a way to express myself, yes.
Oh, okay. So, do you think the music industry is fair and equitable? Is it benefiting?
It is very beneficial, and the reason that the music industry is very beneficial is because music is one of the only things that connects all people. All people. Even the greatest thing in the world to me was coming to Africa in 2018 and finding that there were people who, though they didn't speak fluent English, they knew the words to a Tupac song. And I'm like, wow, and Tupac is somebody who's actually delivering a message. So without even understanding my language, you can listen to my song, and as you're memorizing the words to my song, you're memorizing an affirmation. You're memorizing something that's going to empower you. You see what I'm saying? So music literally connects everybody on the entire world, and that's what makes it so important if you're going to use it as a vehicle for change. If you're going to use it for anything else, then it's going to work vice versa. But if you know the power of music, you can send your message out to every corner of the world from a good song.
Oh, okay. So how many years have you been in the music industry?
Well, I've been working in music for a long time. Let's see. I started when I was 11 years old, and I started writing poetry. And really, I've been writing poetry since 5. But let's just say from considerably writing, about 11, 21. I don't want to give my age away, but we've been at this for well over 20 years. So I've mastered it. And that's why when I'm able to come to Ghana, I'm able to come to Africa and learn the culture, I'm able to adapt the music, because I've been doing this so long, I am a master at it. And that's what hip-hop is. The origins of hip-hop, not what you hear today, but the origins of hip-hop is about mastery of the English language, mastery of articulating yourself, mastery of expressing yourself. That's why I love martial arts. Martial arts and music are both ways of mastering the expression of self.
So 20 years in the music industry?
Well over
20 years.
Yeah.
So how many singles have you got during your 20 years career?
And we have hundreds of songs, and we have, and somebody could say, okay, how could you have so many songs, but we never heard of you, right? But the thing about anything that you do is, if you're going to have success at something, it has to be your passion. Yeah. If you're doing something for money, you're not going to last more than 3 or 5 years. You see what I'm saying? But if it's your passion and it's something you do as a form of mental health for yourself, something you do as an exercise for yourself, something that you do when you don't have the money, when you can't pay the bills, when you're homeless in your car, when you're struggling and you just know, okay, when I'm struggling, let me get a pen and a pad and write a couple songs. That ultimately is where your success lies. And music is my passion. So I think it's long overdue for us to blow up now. Get it out there. You know, I think I'm ready for it. But either way, we'll always be doing music.
Okay.
Yeah.
During your 20 years career in music, have you ever regretted making or releasing a song?
I mean, yeah, when I first started off, I was like everybody else, wanted to get on the radio, wanted to do what everybody else was doing, wanted the fame, and I always knew that I wanted to make change, but initially I was like, all right, let me get in there doing the negative shit. You know what I'm saying? Let me get in there doing the negative stuff. Let me get in there. Yeah, I'm with the guys who selling dope, but I'm not necessarily selling it with them. These just my homies. Yeah, I'm with the guys who shooting the guns. I mean, I ain't the first one shooting, but I got one. I felt like, okay, maybe I can do that. Then once I get on, then I can try to change and become conscious. You see what I'm saying? And do I regret making that music? Not really, because I always brought my message to it, but I realized that you have to stay true to who you are, because ultimately it's going to show to the fans. The fans are like, hey, your first song you said this, and now on your 20th song, so first you were selling dope, and now you're saying we need to follow Christ. So the fans keep track, and that's real fans. You see what I'm saying? So what I regretted was not starting my career in authenticity and trying to do what everybody else was doing before I realized that, hey, every person is a monopoly. Every person is rare. You are the only version of you. Yeah. So if you want to put out music that nobody else can copy or emulate to your level of success, then you have to put out something that comes from your own authenticity. You see what I'm saying? So I wish I had started my career that way. But hey, you live and you learn, and the youth that come up under me, they will definitely be instructed to start their careers in their authenticity. Yeah.
Right. So you've got a lot of passion for music.
By God's grace.
But is that something that holds you back in the music industry?
One big thing is the kind of music that I do, that Tupac kind of music, that very powerful, revolutionary kind of music. That music ain't gonna go too far in the white supremacist system. Okay, I'm not gonna move to Germany and try to do my kind of music. You know what I'm saying? Black people, we need to wake up, and I'm in the middle of Europe. They might hang it, you know what I'm saying? So, and even as I'm doing that music, people will always tell me, like, you know, people who do the kind of music that you do get killed, right? Like, so when I really but that was my authenticity. So when I really tapped into my authenticity and really wrote a song that really pushed the envelope, you know, people are like, oh man, you're going to get assassinated. I'm like, hold up, let me just put the song out first, you know? So that was the biggest thing holding me back, trying to push the kind of music that I was trying to push in the middle of a system that was against the product that I was trying to put out, that was against the result that I was trying to get among my people. So coming to a place now where, hey, you may not have all of the development and all of the technology and stuff, but you have the independence. You have the freedom.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's run it again over here, and I guarantee in 5 years I'll be a lot further than I would have been if I would have stayed in America and kept fighting the white supremacist system until they did kill me, you know? So we're going to come over here and we're going to bridge that gap to give them the same options as well.
Alright. Now that you are in Ghana here, are you looking to collaborate with any of the Ghanaian artists?
I've been listening lately to a lot of Stoneboy, and when I listen to music, I listen to lyrics. Yeah, it's a different language, but we can still get the gist of what we're saying because it's music, right? And I like Stoneboy songs like Into the Future. I love the one he did with Wyclef Jean, Pray For Me. I feel like lyrically, he's kind of in the same place where I am as far as what we ultimately want Africa to be, what we ultimately want to see Ghana be, and what we ultimately, like I said, want to see the continent to be. But I like his take on like love. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, Into the Future is one of them. I like Your Body. That's another one that's good too. I like the bounce. I like the songs he does with Beanie Man, Sugar. These are like old songs, but hey, I'm new here, so don't be like these songs are, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like working with Stoneboy would be something I would really want to work on, and maybe doing something for the ladies. Doing something for the ladies with Stoneboy.
Stoneboy is a feeling.
Lyrically, that's one of my favorites as far as Ghanaian artists, and of course I like Black Sharif as well. He's dope and he's really blowing up right now.
Black Sharif.
He's going big right now. So.
How you think a part of Stoneboy Into the Future?
Into the future with you. I will never leave you at the end of the road. Give me your love, cause you know it's safe. Never listen to what you say. That's the ones that stuck out to me. Like, okay, so he's talking about love. He's talking about actually building something with a partner as opposed to how we typically talk about these kind of relationships. Yeah. So I'm like, I want to do something for the ladies with Stoneboy. Yeah.
Alright, so recently I saw on social media that you're coming up with a show.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little more about that show?
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of talent in Africa. A lot of talent in Africa, right? And like I say, Africa has two things that's necessary for everything, and that's independence and freedom. Now, they may not have the resources, but those who are coming from the diaspora are going to bring resources. So what the shows that we're going to start doing, and we want to have our first one in December, but with the shows, we want to start developing talent, not just putting them on stage, but we're working with brother Abu Magoo, Kotukoli Boo, shouts out, building studios and building different venues that'll let us come there and do house shows. And we're going to use all of these things together to start developing the local talent here in Ghana. So if you're good in the studio, then hey, come to one of our shows. We put you on the bill for one of our shows. Or you need a little more confidence, so come to our club night every Wednesday where we do open mic and get practice in and get in. We want to start developing talent here, and we're going to use our shows as a means to put on the best of the talent that we're developing, whether it be dance, singing, musicians, or other.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'll be there.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, everybody's there.
Right. So let's get back to your music. How do you handle negative reviews about your music?
It may sound oversimplified, but I don't give it any energy. Whatever you give energy to grows, right? Yeah. So I used to be a person to where if I got negativity, I would sit on it all day and be like, is it true? Can I go through it? And as you're sitting on it, you start seeing more examples of it popping up, which seems to make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't give any energy to it at all whatsoever, because so much of my music comes from a deep introspection. Like, I meditate before I do songs. I may go into a short fast, before I start working on an album or before I start working on a project, you know what I'm saying? So much of it comes from my internal world that I know that initially my music is not going to be understood. Like my performances, for example, you know, after you perform, right, and everybody's like, yeah, woo, that was great, yeah. So every time I'm going up with every time I'm like doing a performance with somebody who hasn't seen my performances before, I always give them the disclaimer. I say they're not going to clap immediately after the performance, because they have to realize that they've heard something they've never heard before. So their mind kind of has to process what just happened. I say, but then you'll see what happens after I get off stage. And it happens every time I perform. And after I perform, everybody's like, and I already know it. I'm used to it. So I just hop off stage. And when I hop off stage, now everybody comes around and, yo, what was that? Where do you come from? So they say, oh, okay, I thought when nobody was cheering it's because it was negative, because people didn't like it. But I'm bringing something that hasn't been brought, at least to this generation. You know, they say it's nothing new under the sun. But if it has been brought before, it's been brought from the ancestors and from the hip-hop origins that created me, and haven't been seen much since. You know, shouts out to Kendrick Lamar and those who still holding that line. But that's how I handle negativity. I handle negativity as far as it's going to take you time to understand what I'm doing. And those who really come on at the beginning may not even fully understand it at the beginning, but they may more so connect with the energy. And like I said, my music is a narration to the work we're doing around Ghana. So you can see the music in action. You know it's not fake. You know it's real. Every word is fake.
So basically, if you make a music, someone gives bad comments, you just gotta leave it like that. If it comes across my attention, I'll look at it, but I'm discerning enough to know where it's coming from. It can be good critique, like, hey, you know, not dumb it down, but maybe slow it down a little bit. The people don't necessarily speak your language, so I can get into the twister rap, I can get into the really, 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 really fast rap, but those wouldn't be songs that I would put here in Ghana, because you want the people to understand what you're saying. That kind of criticism, I don't count that as negative. Negative is something that deducts. Positive is something that adds. So anything that's trying to deduct from what I'm doing, we throw that out the window. We put that in the toilet and we wash that down the drain. Constructive criticism of it. Okay. So have you performed here in Ghana before?
Yeah. We performed in Nima, and we performed in Dodowa. And those are very, very powerful experiences.
Wow.
I loved it.
What was the Dodowa one?
The Dodowa one was it was right after we did the one in Lakeside, as a matter of fact. That was wow. what was that? February, March, or I'd have to get a date for it. I don't remember now, but
Just
the
this year.
Dollar one was one of my favorite ones.
Just this year.
Yeah, Salafest. So
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
have to look it up. But yeah, the Dota one was one of my favorite ones.
Wow.
Yeah,
He also went to Lakeside.
yeah, the Lakeside one that
that
was
was
fun too.
that
That was
was
fun
where
too.
I was
Yeah.
at first.
Oh yeah.
Prime, yes.
Okay, we'll come back in December. That's what we're looking to do our next show. So.
All right. All right. We are closing the show, but I want you to give the musicians, the upcoming ones, a piece of advice for them to follow. What do you have to say for them?
The same thing I said before. I think that's good advice for local musicians. Be authentic. It's very easy to try to emulate a sound that's already out, to emulate something that someone else is doing, right? So, for example, I used to live in a Shalabatwe, which is, you go there and you get your clothes washed, right? So in a Shalabatwe, you may have about 5 laundromats in a Shalabatwe, but maybe no more laundromats anywhere else around Ghana, right? And the people wash their clothes here, but I'm using it as an example to say somebody saw the success of a laundromat, and after seeing it successful already, they said, let me imitate that. But there's other places where there are no laundromats at all, but in one area there's 5, right? So people usually do that with music. They listen to what sound is already successful, and they try to pick one to emulate, as opposed to being the first laundromat or the first gym or the first restaurant in that area. You have what's been coined as thousandaires, millionaires, and billionaires, right? Thousandaire is someone who works for a system. A millionaire is one who innovates a system. And a billionaire is one who creates a system. So when you create music from your authenticity, you're creating a new sound. And because you are an individual person, everybody has that ability to create a new sound. And that's how maybe you build for others to follow, but you don't follow. You be authentic and you come from your own individual nature when creating your music. So know who you are, know thyself.
So be yourself, be authentic, and you will succeed. Alright, tell us your social media handles for us to follow. I would like to follow right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Instagram, Facebook,
for sure. You can find me everywhere at Hakeem Royce. For my music page, I have a Hakeem Royce IG page, but I want you guys to follow me at Glue Music 2. Glue, Glue Music 2. Okay, and Glue Music 2 will be a lot like my Audio Mac page, which is a library of songs that I've created over the years. So as you're going through it, you can kind of see how I've grown over my many years of writing music. So Hakeem Royce, HakeemRoys. You can find me on all social media platforms at Hakeem Royce. But also get over to that music page, Glue Music 2.
On all social media handles. Viewers, that's it. We're done for today's edition. Once again, I'm Japan Clinton, and this is the Talent Show here on AK Prime TV. AK Prime TV, stay informed.